London is home to more than 8.6 million people, is currently the largest city in Europe and is continuing to expand further. The population is said to grow to a massive 11 million people by 2050, according to Mayor Boris Johnson, meaning even more development is required. This expansion is damaging London's ecosystem, making the air so polluted it's been breaching EU regulations for the previous 5 years. The main culprit of this pollution is nitrogen dioxide, a toxic gas which is largely created by diesel cars, lorries and buses. It is so poisonous it can be linked to contributing to 1 in 12 deaths in London. Despite London's 20,000 trees being planted under the Mayor's recent scheme, the amount of urban open space is still being dominated by a concrete jungle. One area that's being affected by this is Elephant and Castle. Over the next 10 years, a further 2,900 homes and at least 50 shops are planned to be constructed with an additional new park space. However, this isn't leaving much greenery to enjoy in the time being. One way to combat this is by getting involved in your local community. Guerrilla and Mobile Gardening are an urban gardening force who's taking over London with a green thumb, renovating old worn down spaces into thriving places for people to enjoy.
So guerrilla gardening is a loose global movement of people who can't help themselves but transform patches of land they don't own. So we just go out there and make it better, you know, bits of the side of the pavement or traffic islands. And I've done a lot of it around the Elephant and Castle. So I started guerrilla gardening in 2004 and I was just on my own at night, wrote a little blog about it, didn't know anyone else who was doing it, and at that stage wasn't inviting anyone really to join in. But gradually I discovered not only were there already guerrilla gardeners in New York, in Toronto, in Berlin, but people wanted to help out. So I took on newer spaces, bigger spaces, and recruited people through the website. And people like Susan here heard about that and came along, helped out. And it's because of people like her and Paul who have found opportunities to collaborate with official organisations that we're now doing mobile gardening as well.
I think what he's doing is fantastic. I love what he's done ever since he started, really, several years ago. He used to go out in the middle of the night, I think, and plant things covertly, and it really brightens up the place because it's a bit of a concrete jungle, it's a bit urban, it can be a bit grim around here, and he's really brightening the place up. I love it.
So my husband and I are architects, so we live in a high-rise flat and we have a small balcony, so we're interested in what our public realm around us looks like, and we want to make it look better.
Another way to make the city more sustainable is by growing your own food or buying locally produced. Not only will it make you self-sufficient, but also it will cut down nitrogen dioxide levels produced from food transportation. One group who's doing just that is Walworth Garden Farm. They're a small gardening community based in Southwark that invite people of all ages to learn how to grow their own food, no matter what little space they have.
This is Walworth Garden. We're about 2 minutes walk from Kennington Tube Station, and this is a piece of land that was derelict and full of kind of concrete in 1987 when some local residents decided to reclaim it for themselves because they wanted to be able to grow things here and to work together as a community. Creating a garden. We grow a variety of plants and vegetables and fruits and all sorts of things here. So that's what this is a kind of demonstration garden. We don't produce huge amounts of food for the whole community, but people can come and learn here and then go back home and grow things in their window box or on their in their gardens. Most people in Southwark have very little outside space. It's one of the most densely populated boroughs in London. So giving people some ideas that they can do for themselves is important. But they can also drop back in and ask us questions. But what we find is people keep coming back, and then they go away with the knowledge, but it creates an interest. And so people who might not have been growing anything for themselves are starting to think about that, and it's very important in the kind of world that we live in that we can create and grow things as much as we can for ourselves, and to do that locally and sustainably.
If you're interested in learning more about urban gardening, you can visit the websites on screen now.